G'day nerds. So, welcome to our introduction to body systems. This is where we're going to learn about how all the different parts of the body work together to make a complete organism. Okay, so what's the point? Today we're going to get a reminder of what a cell is. We're going to understand basically required cell processes, so what's needed to happen in a cell, and we're going to differentiate between plant and animal cells. And we're talking generalized cells, so when we see a picture of a cell, this is actually a type of cell, but when we show diagrams of cells, it will be a generalized cell usually, which means it's roughly the same as all of the others with slight variations. Okay, so what do we need to remember? We need to remember from last year's cell theory, and that is all organisms are made up of one or more cells. Cells, they're the building block, like the brick, the basic brick of all life, and all cells come from pre-existing cells. They don't just appear out of magic. That would be crazy town. There are 7 characteristics of life we need to remember. There's reproduction, movement, growth, respiration, sensitivity, which means reacts to stuff in the environment, nutrition, and excretion. So that's our 7 things there. Also, we have organelles, and organelles, they're these small organ-like structures that exist within cells. We've seen these before, so stuff like the mitochondria or the nucleus. Okay, so what is a cell? Basically, it's as we said, the basic building block of life, and everything's made up of cells. And you can either be unicellular, so as an existence you are just a single cell, or you can be made up of many cells, so you can be multicellular. So not all cells are the same. They're just not, but they can be generalized. So they can be made to, this is roughly what a cell is. Now, cells can be said to have 3 regions. You can have the nucleus in the middle, which holds the DNA. You've got the cytoplasm, which holds all of the other organelles. And you have the cellular membrane, which is basically the entry point and exit point of that cell. It's what everything gets in and out. So it's actually really important. All right. So what do cells need? Now, all cells need energy. Okay, this is job number 1. So they all need energy for growth and repair, as well as products that you use to build and replace stuff. And you need a way to get rid of the nutrient, get rid of the waste, the byproducts. Plants themselves are autotrophs. This means they produce their own food. So they use water and carbon dioxide through the process of photosynthesis. Everything, including plants and animals, break down the products of photosynthesis through a process called respiration. So so basically respiration is the opposite of photosynthesis, we lock the energy up in photosynthesis and we release it through respiration. Now, multicellular organisms actually require quite a bit more. They require sugars, carbohydrates, proteins, and or fats for energy, proteins, micronutrients such as like the nitrogen, the iron that you have to eat, vitamins. These are used for cellular repair, growth, trace elements, and other things they use in metabolism. Here's photosynthesis. So this is what we mean when we say it's kind of the backwards. So you've got photosynthesis here, which is carbon dioxide plus water plus the energy in, gives you sugar right here and oxygen. Now, that's where we get all oxygen to breathe from. If you want to have a look at it the other way, you actually get aerobic respiration. So using oxygen to break down our food. So here we have sugar plus oxygen gives us carbon dioxide, which we breathe out, water, which we breathe out and excrete, and energy. And that's where we get our energy for our cells. Now, as we said, they look kind of the same but backwards. So if you look at this one here, you can actually see that respiration goes this way, photosynthesis goes this way, but the chemistry is exactly the same. So it's energy stored to energy released, sunlight to energy stored. Now, we're going to look at a plant cell and an animal cell. We're going to compare the two. All right. So on our left here, or you're right, we have an animal cell and a plant cell. Now, if you have a look, you'll notice that one is actually much simpler than the other. So here we have cell membrane that exists in both. Cytoplasm, which is the gooey stuff in the center, that exists in both. The nucleus, that exists in both. Mitochondria, which is where that's where respiration happens, that exists in both. However, plants have a few extra features. They have a rigid cell wall, okay? They've got chloroplasts and they've got a large vacuole in the center. So Similar, but different. And we can actually have a look at the differences here. So, for example, this is the similarities, both have nucleus, cytoplasm, plasma membrane, Golgi apparatus, don't stress, mitochondria, ER, don't stress, and ribosomes, do stress. Alright, animal cells, they don't have a fixed shape, whereas plant cells do. Do not have a cell wall, they have a cell wall, that's where the fixed shape comes from. Animals only have really small vacuoles, whereas plants have the giant big large vacuole right in the center. No chloroplasts, do have chloroplasts. Glycogen, starch. So if you want to store energy as an animal cell, you store it as glycogen. Plants store it as starch. We have centrioles, do not have centrioles. Don't stress, you don't need to know about those. And that's it for today. So I hope that wasn't too much and a good start. All right, let's get